What is your #1 favorite Christmas movie? Let me know in the comments as you're watching today.
Making our Christmas memories.
Merry Christmas, loves. My name is Brianna. Today's video, I'm sharing with you my ultimate Christmas movie bucket list, sponsored by LG. I'm sharing 22 of my favorite Christmas movies, and then I've got some of my favorite movie snacks that I'll be sharing with you at the end of this video, so make sure you stick around for that. But let's dive right into this ultimate Christmas movie bucket list. Now, these are in no particular order, but I would just say I'm gonna start with one of my favorites and end with one of my favorites, but #1 and 2 on my list are Home Alone and Home Alone 2. My kids love these movies. Every single year, like the day after Halloween, when we're ready to start watching Christmas movies, they're begging to watch Home Alone and Home Alone 2 first. The plot of this is that Kevin McAllister, who I think he's like 7 years old, he's very young in the first movie, is left home alone at Christmas time, and he has to defend the house from 2 robbers. So there's lots of physical humor. It's very funny. It's entertaining for both kids and adults. And the soundtrack is amazing. Like, John Williams is who wrote the soundtrack. I love Home Alone, and then Home Alone 2 takes place in New York City. And I think it's just beautiful getting to see all the Christmas decorations in New York City too. It's like on my bucket list to go to New York City during Christmas time. So Home Alone and Home Alone 2. And what I'll try to do, by the way, in the description box is I'll have the list of these movies and like where you can find them to watch them, so that when you're done watching this, if you want to go watch one of these movies, you know where to find it. #3 on my list is The Family Man, and I feel like this one isn't quite as popular, but I absolutely love watching this movie during the holiday season. So the plot is that the main character, played by Nicolas Cage, he's a very successful businessman, and he gets to see a glimpse at what his life would have been like had he married his college sweetheart. And so it's just interesting to see the 2 parallels and think about our choices in life and consider like what really matters to us. It's such a good movie, and I feel like I'm extra nostalgic about it because when I was a kid, we went on this cruise where they played this movie over and over and over again, like on the TV when we were getting ready in the cabin. And I think my entire family knew the lines of the movie by the time that this cruise was done. But I happened to have watched it the year after my dad had passed away, and on the plane ticket in the movie, this isn't like a spoiler, but on the plane ticket in the movie, it was my dad's birthday, and I feel like it was just a little like wink from my dad, like, remember when we watched this over and over and over again on that cruise? And just the overall message, it's a really great movie that I think both kids and adults can enjoy during the holiday season. There's so many other great Christmas movies coming up, but we're gonna take a quick break to have a word from our sponsor, LG. So we received the LG A1 OLED television. Guys, this is the nicest television we have ever had. This is the accessible OLED TV, and the picture quality is phenomenal. Even our friends who came over on Thanksgiving both saw this TV, because at first Adam had the football game on, and then later on in the evening we put on Frozen for the kids. They wanted to watch Frozen, and everybody just said, wow, this is the most beautiful television screen we have ever seen. It's an OLED, so it's different than an LED or LCD because it has self-lit pixels and the richest colors, and the definition is just so good. We truly have never had a TV this amazing, and it's really, really thin. I was so surprised at how thin the screen actually is. Like, look next to my cell phone, how skinny the TV is next to it. Like, it's skinnier than my cell phone. And the LG A1 OLED TV has Dolby Atmos surround sound, so it just feels like you're so submersed in whatever you're watching, whether it's the movie or the game. If you're watching a movie, it honestly feels like you're in a movie theater, but at home watching the film. It's really, really cool. Plus, it has a filmmaker mode, so you get to experience the movie just like the director actually wanted you to experience the film. And Adam has been loving it for watching all of his football games and different sports, and there's a really cool feature where it actually reminds you of upcoming games and gives you highlights of the games and like the teams that you support too. We just love it for watching TV and movies. I in particular love the voice activated feature, because as a busy mom, sometimes I'm just trying to look up the YouTube video for Hayden or look up the show or the movie that Landon and Presley want to watch. Open Home Alone on Disney Plus. So I love that I can just use the remote and the voice activation to pull up whatever it is that they want to watch at the moment. So if you're looking to upgrade your at-home movie nights or your gaming experiences at home, I'll be sure to have the LG A1 OLED TV linked down in my description box below for you. And thank you again to LG for sponsoring today's video. All right, let's dive back into that movie bucket list. Our number 4 favorite movie is Elf. Now this is Adam's favorite Christmas movie. He is absolutely obsessed with Elf. I think he knows almost every single line to this movie, and it's actually how he proposed to me. So the plot of the movie is that Buddy the Elf is a human who was raised by elves, doesn't realize he's a human until he gets a little bit older, so he comes back from the North Pole to New York City to find his real family. And there's a scene in the movie where he doesn't know how to use an escalator, so he kind of like goes up the escalators in the splits. And that's how Adam proposed to me, is he told me that, oh, I'm gonna go up the escalator like Buddy the Elf. So I was like lower than him watching him do this. And when I got to the top of the escalator, he was down on one knee proposing with a ring. So it's also a very sentimental movie to me and Adam, but he loves this movie, and I feel like now our kids love the movie. It's very funny. It's for the whole family. It has lots of hidden adult humor, but it's very, very cute and fun, and we love watching this film every single Christmas time. And I feel like at this point it's considered a holiday classic, right? Like, you tell me in the comments, do you think Elf is a holiday classic at this point, or like what qualifies a movie as being a holiday classic? Because I feel like Elf should be on the list of holiday movie classics by now, if it isn't already. All right, movie number 5 for me is How the Grinch Stole Christmas, the Jim Carrey version. Now I know there's the animated version, and I loved watching that as I was a kid too. I have actually my favorite animated movies a little later on down the line in this list, but I like the Jim Carrey version because I'm an empath, so it always really helps me. Like, I'm really drawn to movies when I understand the complexity of the character and like more context of the character and why they are the way they are. So I think that's why I like the How the Grinch Stole Christmas live version with Jim Carrey better than I do the animated version. Because even though the animated version is great and that's a total classic, I feel like I like understanding why the Grinch is the Grinch, like why he is the way he is. So that's what I really like about the live movie. But you have to let me know in the comments, which How the Grinch Stole Christmas do you like better? Do you like the animated classic, or do you like the live version with Jim Carrey better? Again, I like the Jim Carrey one. And if you want to know what the plot of the Grinch is, it's a town called Whoville, and all the Whos are full of Christmas spirit, and they're so big in buying gifts and decorating and being super extra and over the top, except for the Grinch. He like hates it all, and it kind of helps explain to you why he hates it all. So that's why I like that version of the movie. Number 6 on my list is A Christmas Story. So if you have not seen this movie before, it was actually all filmed in Cleveland, Ohio, which is where I grew up, where I lived until this past year. And so watching that movie as a kid, it always gave me insight on, ooh, this is what Christmas must have looked like for my grandparents, because it takes place in the 1950s. The plot of it is it's told by a little boy named Ralphie, and you sort of see what Christmas is like for him that year, and just, you know, what he wants for Christmas and what they do as a family, their family traditions. And when we would watch this when I was little, my mom would always say to me just like how much things that even happened to Ralphie's character happened to my grandpa, and how he looked a bit like my grandpa. So I feel like in watching it, it just like carried so much nostalgia for what like a Cleveland family Christmas must have looked like in the 1950s. And there's like tons of humor in it, like some really, really funny lines. Like the dad gets this box from work, not a spoiler, but he gets a box and it says like fragile, but he says fragile, must be Italian. Like there's just like really funny jokes we threw out A Christmas Story. It is a total classic. I love watching it so much. Number 7 on my list is Nightmare Before Christmas. I'll be honest, we usually watch this before Halloween, but it's one of Presley's favorites. So at some point she usually asks to watch it again before Christmas because she just loves it so much. But the premise of this movie is that all of the characters from Halloween decide to take over Christmas, and it's kind of a mess. It's sort of like a stay in your own lane bit of a theme, but it's very creative, and Presley just loves it. Like, it is a bit dark, so depending on your kids' ages, they might not really be into it, but Presley has like always loved the spooky and the dark, so she really likes it. There's some great songs in it too, and it's just like a very like fun twist of almost combining Halloween and Christmas into a movie together. I always think it's really fun too. We went to Disneyland when I turned 30, so it was around Christmas time because my birthday's in December, and it's really fun because they turned the Haunted Mansion there into Nightmare Before Christmas style. So it was really cool to see that twist done on that ride too. But again, I love the movie, I think because Presley loves the movie so much. Number 8 on my list is Miracle on 34th Street, the classic version with Natalie Wood. It was one of my dad's favorite. Natalie Wood was one of his favorite actresses, so I feel like we would always watch that version. I did watch the 90s version as well with like Elizabeth Perkins, and I'm blanking on her name, but it's the girl who played Matilda, and it's very well done too. Like, I think that movie is great in its own right, but I prefer the classic. The whole storyline is that the mom is a single mom. She works for the Macy's and she puts on the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade, and her daughter is questioning Santa Claus. And it's just such a good movie about what you believe in, and I feel like having hope and faith. There's so many good themes within the movie, and I just love the classic version. I think it was so well done then that it's just amazing to watch. I feel like an old movie like that. But you'll have to let me know in the comments, do you prefer the classic Natalie Wood version, or do you like the newer 90s version of Miracle on 34th Street? Let me know. Number 9 on my list, another classic, It's a Wonderful Life. So when I was a kid on Thanksgiving, we would watch the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade, then they would have the dog show, and then It's a Wonderful Life would be on. And we would always be late to Thanksgiving at Gigi's house because we'd be like scrambling to get ready because we'd want to watch It's a Wonderful Life. It's a bit long, so I will tell you, like, it is longer. Little kids might not like it, but I remember watching as a child and still enjoying the entire story. The story is of a man. It kind of takes you through his whole life, and it gets to a point, like, not a spoiler, but he's just questioning just like everything about his life. And so he gets shown what his life would have looked like if he had never been born. And so I just think it's such a heartfelt classic movie that just reminds each of us, like, we are here because we have a purpose, and like, if you were not on this planet, the world could be so much worse for so many people. Like, what you bring to the table is so important and so good. So I just love that movie. I love the entire message of it. Again, it is such a classic Christmas movie. So It's a Wonderful Life, it's a good one. And like another sentimental piece to this movie too, the year my dad passed away, my aunt got me an ornament that says a line from the movie. It's a silver bell, and it says, "Every time a bell rings, an angel gets his wings." And it meant so much, and I feel like my kids now, when they hear bells ring, they'll be like, "Oh, my papi got his wings." So it's such a good movie, and it will always hold a very special place in my heart. Number 10 on the Christmas movie bucket list is Christmas Vacation. We just watched this the other day with the kids. They were cracking up. It is such a funny movie. I think this is one of my grandpa's favorite movies too, because he always brings up parts of this movie or like relates it to certain things that our Christmas is. It's kind of a Murphy's Law Christmas movie where like everything that could go wrong for this family celebrating Christmas, it does go wrong in like some way, shape, or form. And there's kind of like really mean, nasty neighbors that add another element of like spite to it all. And their family comes to visit, and just everything just keeps going wrong. It's a lot of characters, very funny. There is definitely like more adult humor in it. It was kind of over our kids' heads, but if you had a little bit older kids, some of it might not be. But again, it's very funny. It makes you laugh. Christmas Vacation. It's starring Chevy Chase. It's a very, very funny Christmas movie. These are my favorite animated Christmas movies, or like the next ones I have on this list here. So number 11 is Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. I feel like this is like every kid, I don't know if anybody else had to do this in school, but we would have to sing Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer almost like every holiday season at like either a Christmas concert or Christmas pageant. The one year I remember we made with like wire hangers and pantyhose, like little Rudolph faces on them, and we had to like move the Rudolph face like to the music and some kind of motion. But I feel like it's just like a classic animated Christmas movie that kids enjoy. You can enjoy them later on as an adult, of just the story of Rudolph and how he came to lead Santa's sleigh. And again, it has like such a good message of, if you are bullied or picked on or feel different or like an outsider, how your differences can actually be what's so wonderful about you. And I think that's just like such a good message for like every kid and every human to be reminded of. So that's why I love Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer like extra. Number 12 on my list is Charlie Brown Christmas. I know there's a Thanksgiving one too, but I always love the Christmas one a lot. I feel like there's like songs from it that I love. And again, my birthday's December, so I remember my dad, this is like back before DVDs, he got me the VHS of it because we didn't even have cable back then. So I would wait for like all the Christmas specials to come on just like the main 3 channels. It might have been 4 at that point, but I feel like there was like the 3, like ABC, NBC, CBS, Fox. I guess maybe there was 4 main channels, but you would like wait for the Christmas specials to come on the TV, and so you could really only like watch them once. So I loved it so much. I remember he got it for me on VHS for my birthday so that I could watch it over and over again. Number 13 on my list, another animated classic, Frosty the Snowman. You have to let me know, like, what is your favorite animated Christmas movie out of like these ones in the comments too, because I feel like that's almost even like its own category. But Frosty the Snowman, I feel like my mom really loved this one. So if you guys don't know, my mom is a singer-songwriter, so I have so many childhood memories of us driving around in this blue Camaro. It was this old blue Camaro, and I mean, like, there was like cardboard stuck in the ceiling to like keep the ceiling from falling down at certain parts. But we would be in this Camaro, and I just have the best memories of her belting out Christmas songs, like when we were driving around. You know, I was 6 years old when my sister was born, so I was an only child for like a big part of my childhood, and she was a stay-at-home mom at that point. Like, she didn't start singing until after my sister was born. So I just have so many memories of just like the 2 of us driving around, doing errands in the blue Camaro, her singing. And I feel like she would always sing Frosty the Snowman with me. I mean, she would sing a lot of songs, but for some reason that just sticks out as like her doing the bumpity bump bump bumpity bump bump, look at Frosty go. And we would like just have so much fun singing these songs together. So I also just love Frosty the Snowman movie. Again, it's the story of Frosty the Snowman and how he's this magical snowman who comes to life, and they have to like try to save him because it starts to get warmer outside and he's going to melt, and like, is he gonna be saved? Is like the whole plot of the movie. But it's a good one, another animated Christmas classic, perfect to watch with your kids. Number 14 is a newer animated movie that I love. Presley loves this one so much. It's Olaf's Frozen Adventure. So it takes place at Christmas time with all the Frozen characters, except it's much shorter. So it's like the perfect movie to put on if like you're gonna have a movie night, but you like don't want to go like way too far past bedtime. You put on Olaf's Frozen Adventure. It's very heartfelt, cute, classic. There's like a couple songs weaved in, and it has a really good message. I know Prezi loves it. She like loves everything Frozen, but Olaf's Frozen Adventure. 15 on my list is the Santa Claus. We just watched this the other day with the kids, and it's such a good one. I feel like Tim Allen is just so funny. Like, I loved watching Home Improvement as a kid. That was like a show we always tuned in for when it was on, and his sense of humor, like comedic timing, is just so good. Like, I have a feeling, I don't know for sure, but I bet when they were filming that movie, he just threw in a ton of his own jokes because it just feels like that. Like, it feels like there was just like some things he added in off the cuff. But I love that movie. It always makes me laugh. And the plot of it is that he's a divorced dad, and his son comes to stay with him on Christmas Eve. Santa falls off the roof, and so he, you know, puts on the suit because his son's like, we have to save Christmas, and he ends up becoming the new Santa Claus. But nobody believes him. So it's a good story, and it's a lot. It has like a lot of like what you believe in and like having faith. And I think also there's like an element to like having blended families that's kind of like, I don't know, there's something really nice about that movie. So just overall, I love the Santa Claus. Number 16 is a newer movie that my kids love, but they loved the Nutcracker and the Four Realms. I loved the Nutcracker ballet as a kid. So my Aunt Del and Uncle Jim used to take me, my sister, and my 3 boy cousins every single year to go see the Nutcracker in downtown Cleveland at Playhouse Square. And it was just like so special. Anytime I hear any of the songs from the Nutcracker ballet, it just like instantly brings me back to those special memories where we had to get like dressed up and be kind of fancy. It was really cool. So then in watching the Nutcracker movie with Landon and Presley, they just really liked it because it uses the music from the ballet, but it goes into more of the details. So again, it's kind of like these different kingdoms that are like battling against each other. So it is a bit like action-y. So there's not many like action Christmas movies, right? And I feel like that one is. So I remember like Landon was really, really into it. So Nutcracker and the Four Realms. It is newer, but my kids really, really enjoyed it. So of course, anything like my kids enjoy, I enjoy it extra too. 17 on my list is The Christmas Carol, and I picked the Disney version, but if there's another version of A Christmas Carol that you like more, let me know that down in the comments. But I love The Christmas Carol. I just think overall, like, the message of this story is so important. So the plot is that Ebenezer Scrooge, he kind of like the Grinch, just is like this old curmudgeon. Like, he doesn't like Christmas, doesn't like anything, and he gets visited by the ghost of Christmas past, present, and future. So he kind of gets a glimpse back into like what his life was like, and you kind of understand why he became who he became. And then his glimpse of the future is like, you could change your ways, or this could be your end. And I think that's such a powerful message for all of us, right? Because like, we're all imperfect, and we've all probably had regrets or made decisions, or like feel like our life is going in a direction we don't like it to at times. And I think it's just really powerful to be like, it's never too late. You can change your ways. You can have a fresh start. So that's what I love about The Christmas Carol. So I think it's like a great film to watch, again, because of like the theme at this time of year when like we're coming upon a new year too, where it just feels like it's an even more of like a, okay, you can reset right now sort of a feeling. So I love Christmas Carol, and we would actually go see it with my Aunt and Uncle Jim some years too. Like, we'd see the play of it. So it's just like such a good classic Christmas story. But let me know if you like a version better than the Disney version with Jim Carrey. The last movies on this list that I love are definitely more like date night or adult Christmas movies. Number 18 is Serendipity. So I love this movie. I just feel like it's such a good romantic comedy. So the plot of it is that this couple meets at the like Serendipity Cafe in New York City during Christmas time. And they kind of have this like funny banter, and they sort of say like, well, if these things happen, then we're just like meant to be. And kind of following the story of like, okay, are they going to be meant to be, or like what's going to happen? So it's a good, feel good, I feel like holiday romantic comedy. Again, it's great for a date night. 19 on my list is Love Actually. This is another one that I would say is definitely adult. Like, there is some adult language in this movie, like, just to warn you, because I think like you might think that it's not, or like sometimes there might be like TV edited versions where maybe those parts are not in it, but there's some like explicit stuff in it too at certain points. But I will say, like, overall, I love it for a date night movie because I do think it's really feel good. There's humor weaved in, there's romance weaved in, and it's one of those plots where there's like tons of different characters that are all interwoven. I feel like Love Actually was one of the very first movies to really do that too. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like it was one of the first ones that then like a lot of other movies were based on it afterwards. They were like, oh, we can like do this again for a different holiday or for like a different chain of events. But I really like Love Actually. It takes place in London, and it's like a unique story of like how all these different couples and families and co-workers are sort of all interwoven in each other's lives. Number 20 on my list is Four Christmases. This movie stars Reese Witherspoon, who I love her, and Vince Vaughn. And the plot is that they normally go on a vacation during the holidays, but there was this like huge, I think it's like a storm or something happened where they were stranded at the airport, and they ended up being on the news. So their family saw them and called them and was like, well, if you're not going, you have to come to Christmas. But they come from divorced families, and there's lots of dysfunction. So that's why they have 4 different Christmases that they're supposed to be going to. And it's funny. There's a lot of comedy, and I think like overall, if you come from any sort of dysfunction or like divorce, it makes you feel less alone. Number 21 on my list is While You Were Sleeping. This is such a good romantic comedy. Honestly, if I just did like my favorite romantic comedies, this would 100% be on there. I love this movie. It stars Sandra Bullock, and it's hard to, I feel like, really say it without giving away too many spoilers, but she saves somebody from a train, like a train accident, and he was knocked unconscious and lost his memory. And so he thinks that like they're together, and there's just like a chain of events where she kind of like allows that story to happen. And then there's like love triangle forms. I don't know, I feel like I can't really say much without spoiling it. So just watch it. It's such a good romantic comedy. It's such a good date night movie, and just really feel good. And it all takes place at like Christmas time too, during the holidays. So it's just like a feel good holiday romantic comedy. All right, drum roll. Number 22. Again, I said these weren't in any particular order, but this is, I think, my favorite holiday movie, The Holiday. I absolutely love this movie. So the plot of it is that Cameron Diaz is in LA, Kate Winslet is in London, and they both go through like really horrible breakups. And so they online do this house swap. So they switch houses with each other during the holidays, and Cameron Diaz meets Kate Winslet's brother, who's Jude Law, who is like so good looking in this movie. Like, so good. And just like there's a lot of comedy, a lot of twists and turns. Again, sort of like intermingling of relationships, and it's just such a feel-good holiday movie. I just love it. I think it is, besides maybe Home Alone, my favorite Christmas movie, definitely favorite adult Christmas movie. It's just so good. But again, if I left out one of your favorite movies and you're like, what? How could you not have this movie on the holiday movie bucket list? Let us know down in the comments so that we don't leave it out of our watch list this year. But no matter what movie you're watching, I've got some really yummy movie snacks coming up for you next. All right, so to make these semi-homemade Santa hat brownies, you need brownie bites, mini marshmallows, white icing, and red icing. And I went the easy route, like this already has a dispenser tip. So I just used, actually got peppermint icing. I thought that would be like a really fun festive flavor for the holidays to use for the white icing. So I got peppermint for the white icing in my icing gun. All right, so I have my brownie bites, and I'm just gonna take that white icing and pipe a little circle around the outside. This is like the trim on Santa's hats. And then you do the red and add the little mini marshmallow on top for like the point of Santa's hat. So fun, so easy.
Let's go outside, the snow is falling down and every child is having so much fun. The snowman is twice the size as me, with a smile as quirky as mine. We're holding hands to keep each other warm while we stand and watch a choir performing all the Christmas songs that we love. Yeah, all the Christmas songs that we love. And in a while we're gonna go inside and drink our chocolate by the fire. 'Cause all I want is to spend this day with you. Let me give you a Christmas.
And then for movie night, I have two different popcorns we're gonna make today. I'm gonna do a sweet popcorn and a savory popcorn. All right, so I'm gonna start off with 2 tablespoons of butter and add a tablespoon of chopped garlic. And I'm gonna pop this in the microwave till it's all melted. So the garlic butter is all nice and melted here. So I'm just gonna drizzle this all over the top of the popcorn. You wanna like spread it out nice and evenly over the top. Then I'm just gonna take my Old Bay seasoning and do a little sprinkle all over the top too. And then just kind of shake this all together. You can give it like a little stir too, just so that like the butter and the Old Bay gets nice and evenly distributed throughout the bowl. But I learned about Old Bay when I was living in Baltimore, Maryland. They use Old Bay for seasoning all the crabs and seafood there, and they would put it on French fries and popcorn. And this is just so good because it's like a really savory, like the garlic butter. And then the Old Bay has a little bit of salt and like spice to it. It's just a really, really yummy combination. I love this popcorn. I'm obsessed. I know that you will be too. All right, time for the sweet popcorn. We're gonna add in 1/2 cup of mini marshmallows, 1/3 cup of M&Ms, and I made sure I got the holiday kind so that they were Christmas colored. And then you want to melt 1/2 cup of white chocolate chips in the microwave. All right, these are like almost to the point where they're gonna just like melt down. Like you just wanna get them, I put them in for like 1.5 minutes in our microwave. You can tell they're like starting to get super soft, but not like lose their shape completely. And then you wanna mix all of this together. Okay, I'm switching to a bigger bowl, guys. And once you have that mixed around a little bit, so like the white chocolate is getting spread out, you can throw in some holiday sprinkles, and it just makes it so fun and festive colored. It's just like really fun Christmas popcorn. Here is that finished sweet popcorn. This one is so good because it's also like a bit sweet and salty at the same time, but so yummy. And now that we have our movie snacks, we just have to make some cups of hot cocoa to go with these.
Making our Christmas memories. I've been working so much lately, I can barely find the time to sleep. Yeah, I spend my time running around, keeping people pleased. But this is my favorite holiday. It's a chance to start over new. Cause I missed you, so I'm letting go of everything but you. These are the good times with you. Baby, this year it's just gonna be you and me. Hang by the fire and chill. Isn't this how it's supposed to be? Making our Christmas memories. Oh, and I've been longing to hold you close. Forget about everyone else. Isn't this how it's supposed to be? Making our Christmas memories. Oh, oh, la 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 la, oh, oh, la 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 la, oh, oh, la 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 la. Making our Christmas memories. I've been wrapping presents for you. I've been hanging marbles in the tree. And I've lit my house with Christmas lights. So you should come back home to me. And when we wake up in the morning, I'm gonna play those carols that you love. We'll be singing
popcorn,
all
dude?
the melodies
Save some for the rest
until
of
the
us?
sun comes up. These are the good times with you. Baby, this year it's just gonna be you and me. Hang by the fire and chill. Isn't this how it's supposed to be? Making our Christmas memories. Oh, and I've been longing to hold you close. Forget about everyone else. Isn't this how it's supposed to be? Making our Christmas memories.
I hope that you really enjoyed this holiday season. If you enjoyed this video, click that thumbs up. Be sure to hit that subscribe button so I get an extra special treat for myself. If you don't hit subscribe, I don't get it, and it kind of stinks, but you know, no hard feelings. Thank you again to LG for sponsoring today's video, and I will see you in my next one. Merry Christmas, loves!
Christmas memories. I've been longing to hold you close. Forget about everyone else. Isn't this how it's supposed to be? Making our Christmas memories.